Let me get my hair there.
Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. We are here with the man, the myth, the legend, a very old friend of mine, and he's not old, but we're just old friends. John Tankersley is here today. Been trying to get him on the show for a while. Today we're going to talk about an area of expertise that he knows more about than I do, which is what's going on with hurricane season, especially as it relates to insurance. Welcome, John. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on with you, Ted.
I know you look good. You look good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And you were right in the beginning part of your comments. We are getting old, man.
We
are.
A
lot of gray in the beard. There's a lot of gray in the beard.
I'm hoping when I hit 60 is going to be the new 30. I don't know if anybody's going to buy into that, but I'm going to give it a whirl. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about, but I want the audience to know a little bit about you. So give us the 411 on John Tankersley.
All right. Well, I have known you, Ted, for 27 years.
Since you were one or two, you know.
I know. And I've been in the insurance business since right when I got out of college in 94. And then in 98, 99, I moved over to the property and casualty side of things. And in 2001, I started Tankersley Insurance Group. The worldwide headquarters were in Lee Road. I think it was 700 square feet and one employee. And then I grew the agency. You and I were colleagues at the time in the insurance business, and took on a partner in 2004, 2005, and then it became Florida Insurance Specialist, which a lot of your realtor and mortgage friends may still remember it from those days. And then grew that agency to about $100 million in premium, and then we got bought by Assured Partners. There's the name there. It's over here. I got to remember to do the reverse angle when I'm on the monitor. Assured Partners is a national insurance brokerage. They have over 300 offices nationwide. They have offices in the UK and in Canada. And they have every vertical of insurance that's available to the universe. Anything that you need, they can insure it. They have over 7,500 employees and $1.7 billion in revenue. And we've been a part. I know. We've been a part of Assured Partners since July of 2016, and it's been a great situation for us. It really has. It's allowed us to, our agency has now grown significantly, even from the time when we sold, and I'm still doing what I'm doing, which is engaging with real estate and mortgage friends to hopefully be a resource for them, for their clients, and haven't changed.
So good at it.
Well, we were talking before we came on. Nobody ever grows up, or growing up says I want to be a home insurance salesman or a property insurance salesman. But I love how I do what I do, and I've got a lot of good folks that work with me to make things, keep me in line and keep me organized and make things run. Monica Santiago, I believe, has joined, and she's on, and she's our marketing executive for Central Florida. She does a great job, so I wanted to make sure and give her some kudos as well.
She's awesome. She's amazing. Really like her.
Thank you.
All right. So tell us about hurricane season, right? We're in it. We're 11 days, 12 days in it. Monica says, I am here. Hi, Monica. And hi, Michelle and Jackson. They both popped on too.
Oh, hey, Michelle and Jackson.
Tell us about hurricane season. When I don't suffer from the insurance disease anymore, thank God. But I just remember from June 1st to like the 1st of December, it was nothing but stress. It was a very stressful time for an insurance agent, and I don't miss those days. But tell people about hurricane season. What do we have going on in 2021? And then, of course, we want to talk about that from an insurance perspective and how we protect ourselves better.
Well, like you, hurricane season is my least favorite time of year. I think we're both native Floridians.
No, that's Stacy and you, but yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. But you've been here long enough, man. Come on.
Since the earth cooled, John.
Right. Yeah. It is my least favorite time of year. This hurricane season promises to be just as active as last hurricane season. They are predicting, I think, 18 to 20 named storms, 6 or 7 hurricanes, and 3 of them major, which is category 3 or higher. And you pointed out you got nervous, especially when we owned our agencies, Ted, during that time period. And the thing I want to make folks that are in Florida that are viewers of the program aware of is that we usually can get into like mid to late October and you think you're past it, right? Well, I want to remind everybody, Hurricane Eta in November of last year, not too long before Thanksgiving, actually hit Florida. It came ashore as a Category 2 or a Category 3. So be vigilant. It was kind of Mother Nature's way of saying, hey, I'm not going to forget about you, Florida. It was the 30th named storm, 30. We went into the Greek alphabet. And I think that it's going to be more the same this year.
What's the cause? I know you have your finger on the pulse of that. What is it? Because we had, believe it or not, we had a ton of people go, is he going to talk about global warming? So tell us what's happening, because I think we all feel a shift. We can feel that there continues to be more and more named storms, and the predictions are actually not as high as it actually happens. I mean, we're surpassing the prediction. What's going on?
So if you take the politics out of it, you have to be pragmatic about the situation. And for Florida, we are a sponge surrounded on three sides by bathwater, and it's conducive for storm activity. Water is evaporating from the surface of the ocean at a much faster rate. And that might be contrarian to what people would think on a global warming or climate change argument about tidal waters rising, which is certainly happening. But the reality is, I won't do the whole thing where I used to do the horseshoe thing, the horseshoe current. You remember those days when I would draw it and everybody would be. The reality is that the water, particularly in the Atlantic, the cooler streams or currents, they don't go as far south as they used to. And also the water gets warmer faster. Typically, mid to late May is when you would see a significant water temp change. You're starting to see that in April now. And on the Gulf side, it's kind of like a pinball machine. You've got us and Louisiana and Texas, and the storms there can crop up so much faster and escalate into a major storm very quickly. And it's going to hit one of three places, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, or Texas. And the water over there is actually warmer than the water in the Atlantic. So the surface temp is higher. The water evaporation is faster, which allows the sunlight to get deeper into the ocean, which keeps the currents that flow south from being as cool as they once were.
That's interesting.
It's a mess.
Well, it's like almost like the perfect storm, although you hate
Glad to cheer up all your viewers.
Thank you for the cheery news, John. So what can we do? No, it's good. It's important for us to understand, regardless of where your politics are, there's a change, and you'd be silly to discount the fact that this is definitely on the increase.
Absolutely.
During this cycle of whatever we're going through. Tell them what we can do. Give us some tips or some first, second, third things we can do to protect ourselves. What do we need to do? What do we need to know about our homeowners policy? What should we be looking for to make sure we have the coverage that we're supposed to have?
Well, I think and those are great points. And I think the thing that all Floridians that are homeowners and folks that are renting that have renter's insurance, what you owe yourself is about this time of year. You're not too late, because it really doesn't start getting more active until late July, early August into September. That's also happening faster. Call your agent, call your insurance agent, and you want to ask them three things. The first is my policy in effect? A lot of people don't know this, but particularly when there's mortgage companies involved, the lenders switch servicing all the time, and you get a letter in the mail and it says your mortgage is now serviced by XYZ Mortgage, nothing changes, and you don't think anything of it, you throw it in the trash can. What happens in some cases is the new lender that's servicing your loan doesn't pay your home insurance policy. They forget to, it gets overlooked. They call it hazard insurance.
Yes.
So the first thing that you should do as a homeowner, call your agent, ask them, is my policy paid and in effect? If it's not, you can call your local agent or tell your local agent, get me a policy, and alert your mortgage company that you're going to provide proof of new insurance. The second thing that I would advise folks to do is check what your hurricane deductible is. What a lot of people may not know, particularly for our friends who have just moved to Florida and they may just be encountering their first or second hurricane season. They're coming from Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and New Jersey and California, particularly now more than ever. They've never bought insurance in Florida and they think that their deductible is $500 or $250 or $1,000. It's not. It's not. Okay. So all property insurance policies have a separate hurricane or wind deductible. It's typical in Florida for it to be about 2% of what your coverage amount is. And that's something that also gets confused by our new homeowners in Florida. It's not 2% of the damage amount, it's 2% of the coverage. So what I would say is there's a hurricane that strikes in August and there's $100,000 of damage done to your home. You're insured for $200,000 on your home. I'm using very round numbers here so the math can be easy. What is your deductible if you have a 2% hurricane deductible? This is a trivia question I throw out in my CE classes I teach. Ted, you should know this, but I won't put you on the spot.
No, I think I do. It would be if I heard you right, 2% of the 200,000.
$4,000.
Yeah.
That's right. A lot of people don't make that connection. They think it's 2% of the damage, which is $2,000. It's right. 2% of your coverage amount. And the typical deductible in Florida is 2%. For some of our friends in South Florida, and some of the larger homes, it can be as high as 5%. There are very few 10% around in the state anymore, but know what your hurricane deductible is so you know what your maximum out of pocket is as a homeowner should a hurricane damage your home. Okay. The last thing I would advise is consider purchasing flood insurance if you don't already have it. And the reason why is people will say, well, it's a hurricane that damages my home. It's the storms that cause the wind damage, which causes the damage to my home. Why do I need flood insurance? You have to look back historically, and I always draw the line back to Hurricane Katrina. Everybody remembers that was such a horrible tragedy. It was so awful for our friends in Louisiana. And there was people that did not get their claims paid because there was a discernment between, was it wind-driven rain or was it bodies of water rising from the outside? And the best way to cover yourself in the event of a storm that happens and then there's flooding that occurs afterwards or during is to purchase flood insurance. And what most people do not know, if you're not required to have flood insurance by your mortgage company because you're in a special risk flood zone, most people live in a preferred risk flood zone. And for as little as $200 or $300 a year, they can purchase flood insurance. And there is a 30-day wait. There's a 30-day wait. So if you get it now in June, it'll be in effect in July. And when the heart of hurricane season comes, you won't be wondering, am I covered or am I not covered? It is not something that you can call up the day before the storm and say, hey, I want insurance now. But there's a 30-day wait on that.
It's so good to talk about that because I think people still to this day think flood insurance is covered under their homeowner's policy. That they don't understand that just because maybe they closed on their home with flood insurance, that was more of an immediate policy. When you're going back in and buying it after the closing transaction, it's 30 days, right? Yeah. At closing, you can get it if you close right away. But Michelle just said, 30-day wait is super important. It's important because a lot of times people are reaching out when they see something on the news and the storm's 15 days away, quote unquote, they're freaking out. You still got to do the 30-day wait.
Yep, you do. And specific to one other thing, if I may add, for the real estate and mortgage market, right now, if you are a real estate professional, a mortgage professional, or a title agent, anybody that's involved in a real estate transaction, you need to be leery of the fact that right now during hurricane season, when all the carriers that I represent or Assured Partners represent, and there's about 30 or 35 of them that are still writing property insurance in Florida, when a storm gets in the quote unquote storm box, all of those companies stop writing policies until the storm passes, which is usually 24 to 48 hours before they lift restrictions on us as agents being able to sell a policy. So if you're out trying to purchase a home this summer in Florida, be as early as possible on securing insurance, because you don't want to wait till the last week of closing and then there's a storm out there that's not even going to affect Orlando, but all the insurance companies stop writing policies and you can't close because you can't buy insurance.
It's so important during, especially this time of year. Any closings, I feel like from June 1st on, you really need to have your ducks in a row many, many days or weeks prior to. It's just so critical. But I think it gets to we've gotten sort of lackadaisical about implementing that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Speaking of realtors, you and I have an event coming up where you are giving. They're going to earn 2 hours of CE.
That's correct.
Tell them a little bit about that.
So this is a class that I started teaching about 3 years ago, and it's called Insurance 101. And just the name of that, elements of construction that affect property insurance, it gets you very excited, doesn't it, Ted?
It gets me so excited.
You're riveted. You're riveted. You're tied to this
game,
right? So, the first line of the class is "Call me Ishmael." That's how long it is, gang. It's 6 hours. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So this is a neat class. It is the one that is most popular right now because of the current property insurance market conditions in Florida. It's really a nuts and bolts field approach that real estate professionals run into in the field that'll absolutely drive them nuts on polybutylene plumbing, aluminum wiring, Federal Pacific electric panels, older homes and older roofs. This is huge now, huge. And it's a guide to a real estate professional on how to keep insurance from screwing up their closing. That's about as
That's it, right? Because we need to know that. I think even experienced people are running into, because of the way the insurance market has changed so much. I mean, I've been talking a lot with people. Back in the day, Orlando was where you wanted to write everything.
Yeah.
And the carriers are certainly making that a little more challenging in this arena, and people don't understand why. So there's a lot going on, a lot of change in that market. It's not just, oh, you've got a new home, that you're great, but if you got an older home, you have a roof update, you're great too. That's not necessarily the case either. There's a lot of changes.
It is definitely not. And to give you some context and to give your viewers some context, between the fourth quarter of 2019 all the way up through June of this year, we're just going to finish up June 30th, FIS, or Assured Partners Lake Mary, FIS is part of their platform, we will have had to replace, for existing customers, these are not new policyholders, these are existing customers, 22,000 home insurance policies.
Oh my God.
Because the current carrier situation is you have a bunch of companies that are writing less policies. They're making underwriting restrictions on new business very tough. If that home is over 15 years old, I'm not going to steal my own thunder on Monday, but as a real estate professional, the 4-point inspection, the wind mitigation inspection is an absolute must. It used to be 30 years. I remember when we first started selling insurance, if the home was over 50 years, they'd be like, woo, you need a 4-point. And a 4-point was kind of like a scarlet letter, like, oh, wow, this guy needs a 4-point. What historic home is he buying? Now, if it's 15 years or older, it's a different hill to climb on insurance. So the markets have gotten very difficult, predominantly because of loss ratios for the companies that write property insurance in Florida. In 2019, the loss ratio was 127%, and the underwriting loss on roof and internal water claims was about $580 million. And in 2020, and these numbers just came out at the end of the first quarter of 2021, the loss ratios as an aggregate were over 140%, and the underwriting loss on roof and internal water damage was $1.7 billion.
Wow.
Almost triple.
Wow.
In 12 months.
So that at least explains a little bit as to why it's tightening so much, because those numbers are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just can't believe it. All right. So this event, this Realtor workshop that John is going to come in and talk about is Tuesday the 15th. So this upcoming Tuesday, 10 o'clock here at the Citrus Club. You can reach out to John or me or anybody who's been tagged in this. And I see Monica's on there. I bet she'll put the link for the event for realtors to register. You're awesome, John. You are just the same.
Thanks.
I love everything that you do. I love that you still go out and market and do it the old school way like we all learned. It is, a lot of people have forgotten how powerful and impactful that is, and you have mastered it.
I'm going to tell a story on you.
Okay.
And it's a good one, so relax.
Oh, good. I'm like, where's my cocktail?
By the way, will there be wine at the event on Tuesday? I'm sure maybe afterwards there'll be a glass of wine available.
I have no doubt in my mind.
So I learned this style of marketing, which is go get with the folks that need your services for their clients. And I learned from Scott, who learned from you, Ted. And so there's a lineage there that goes back. And I wanted to give you the credit when you said I'm the master at it. I enjoy what I do and I love what I do. But I have to give credit where credit's due. We're talking way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. You were a big part of my learning experience, for that, which I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. We did it so different back then, didn't we? And you've continued it on. And I've always been a huge believer in that works better than pretty much anything else. I know those people. I know those the staff. When you go in and visit an office, they look forward to you coming to the office, and that's what you want. And it's not just the business thing. You love people, and so people love you, and so it's a great way. So if you're out there and you don't believe that person-to-person marketing works, you should really reach out to Mr. John Tankersley, because he has carried that torch really, really well.
It really doesn't matter if you're a home warranty rep or a title rep or a real estate agent or a mortgage professional or an insurance salesperson. That's very it's the relationships matters. So that's very apropos.
All right, so we have assuredpartners.com scrolling across the bottom. You all register if you're a realtor. Register for that. The link will be in the comments. John, thank you so much for coming on the show.
We're going to have some fun Tuesday. We're going to have fun. There will be a gift card raffle. We're going to have fun. This is not me reading a homeowner's policy. I don't want everybody leaving in tears, Ted. So it's going to be fun.
We're going to have a blast. Reach out to us or register in the link that'll be in the comments. Thank you, John. Guys, we'll be back later on. See you soon. Bye, everybody.